Happy Friday, happy Friday. It's MontySpeakss. And this is episode 3. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm pretty excited to do this topic, but I'm also pretty nervous to do this topic. And I want to make a huge disclaimer. So do not skip this part of the video, okay? This is very important for the rest of everything after. I am freshly... Hold on. Before I even get into that. Today, the topic is marriage. Yes. So, my disclaimer. I am freshly married. I do not have years under my belt. And there are still things that I'm learning myself. So anything that I say is all perspective. Alright? It's all how I see it through my lens. Now, before we get started, like I said, I am married. So I want to give a special shout out to my wife, Sia. She has been at the forefront of support in everything that I do, and she's held down just me in general. A lot of what you guys see would not be without her. So I definitely want to show appreciation to her and show that, show her some love, and just let her know that she is the most amazing woman in my life. Now, marriage. And no, you will not be getting the inside scoop of my marriage, okay? You will not be knowing everything that's going on in my stuff. You may get a little tidbit of experiences of things that I've gone through, but not much. I first off want to say that marriage is a beautiful thing. And if you caught in my last video what marriage means to the black community, it is a lost art. And I think now in this generation, marriage isn't even about love anymore. Marriage became a social media privilege and not commitment. Marriage became who can throw the flashiest wedding and not love and commitment. Now, I'm not saying that you can't be committed and loved and things like that and still have a fire, marriage or a wedding. But what I'm saying is it has become a large portion of flash over love. You know what I mean? And I think that has caused that high rate that everybody talks about when you hear about marriage and podcasts and divorce rates and who starts this, who starts that, and because it was never about love. I can almost guarantee that a lot of those divorces were because they weren't even friends. And I know you're probably looking at it like, friends, what are you talking about? Listen, to me, marriage is your lifelong friend. So if you don't even have a strong foundation in you guys' friendship and relationship, my bad, guys, it's trash day, you know what I'm saying? But if you guys don't have a large portion of you guys' relationship as a good friendship, that foundation is kind of harder to have, if that makes sense. Like, the relationship, when you guys aren't married, that's the trial run that you guys are supposed to be learning each other for marriage. And I don't want to get too biblical, because there are portions of it that are, and that I do value. When I think of marriage, I think of a partnership. And the big thing in this generation for some reason is, 50-50, this, that, and the third. And in my personal opinion, I don't think people realize that 50-50 is not a bad thing in this economy. Have you seen the prices of things that are out here? I'm not saying that a man shouldn't be a man and, take on his role as a man. But you are his helpmate, ladies. That's a big portion of it. No, I'm not saying, go out there, get a job, this, that, and the third, woo-de-woo. But expecting a man to be the complete sole breadwinner and he does all of this, I pose the question, what do you do? Because another lost art is making a house a home. And I think a lot of women in this generation miss that aspect of what making a home is. No, it is not, I can cook, I can clean, I can woo-de-woo, which I've realized, even in my experiences, a lot of women in this generation can't even cook. It's mostly the men cooking. And that's not a problem, but it's like, where did we go where traditional values, at least in America, let me say that, because I don't know about other people and their different cultures. I've experienced other cultures and how they maneuver, and I think America's viewpoint is completely different. I know in a lot of Hispanic communities, the woman is at home and caters to, brings the plate, cooks for him, makes sure he's set up to thrive, to make sure that he can carry the home. In Asian communities, that's almost similar. Don't know too much about the white community. Leave some room down there in the bottom for you guys to, do that. Never experienced that, so I can't really speak on that. In the black community, there are some, there aren't some. I would say the loudest are the ones that don't, but I'm not gonna discredit the people that do and still value and understand the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. I think a lot of people don't pay that enough attention. And in this generation, the biggest thing that has tripped me up, because I watch a lot of podcasts, I watch a lot of relationship things on YouTube and on TikTok and on Instagram and stuff like that, and I see a lot of those things being spread. And that could just be my algorithm. That's perfectly fine, that's fair. Which is why I'm not gonna say that good does not happen. It does. But the loudest things are the ones that are negative. In this particular thing, when I say making a house a home, I know I said I wasn't going to get too biblical, but you are his helpmate. And in the Bible, in Proverbs, I'm so sorry, I'm not real good with verses, okay? I know I'm getting better at knowing where it is, but verses, hey, I'll probably put it up here somewhere so y'all can see the verse that I'm talking about. But in Proverbs, it states that you're not to be a quarrelsome wife. I don't think a lot of women know what that means. That's confrontational, argumentative, dismissive. Anything that would derail his path to God. You are supposed to make his life easier. Now, that's not to say that you are not to be valued as well, because it also states that we are supposed to be gentle with our words. We are supposed to care for you like we care for the church. But both of us are missing that. And here's where mine comes in. I'm a victim of that same thing. I'm not the best husband, but I am a working husband. I am a trying husband. I am a husband that values my wife's opinions and tries his best not to belittle or change how my wife feels. Because of a very good verse of mine that I've held near and dear to my heart that I'll eventually get tattooed. It's 1 Corinthians, where it talks about what love is. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not want. It is not easily angered. That part, ooh, a lot of that is missing in marriages and love. Not easily angered. But let's go back real quick to the very first thing that it asked for. The very first thing that love consists of. Love is patient. Love is patient. In this social media generation, we don't have patience to save our lives. We're so quick to move on to the next thing without letting anything grow, without letting anything prosper, without letting anything get to its value. It also doesn't hold grudges, which a lot of us do in our marriages. We're constantly holding on to things. See, the reason our love is failing, in my opinion, is because we're not even following that pattern. Me either. Let me not pretend like I'm, holier than thou with the love thing, but I take that very literally. I, in my personal opinion, feel like I have a lot of those aspects, but there's still some I'm trying to learn how to do. And I feel like when we practice those things, we start to see that love does look a lot different. Love isn't angry. It isn't hard to commit to. It isn't stressful. We make it stressful because we're not following what we're supposed to be doing. Because we're greedy. We want this, we want this, we want this, we want this. I need the top of this with the top of this. And we don't have that. Why is God's love not enough for us? We are so selfish that we can't even look at our partner and see him. We're constantly wanting different things from our partner that doesn't even necessarily fulfill us, because it's nowhere near what God envisioned for us. We have arguments and disagreements because we have no ability to show compassion, understanding, and the biggest part of that partnership and it going together what's the word I'm looking for? I had the word. I promise you I had the word. It's like compensating. It'll come back to me, but being a compromise. There we go. Compromise. In a lot of marriages I've seen, we don't have the ability to compromise. It's either my way or my way. And if we can't have it either other way, we're at a stalemate and we're at it. That's where a lot of the arguments come from, because we're not willing to see each other's viewpoints, because we get our feelings hurt first. Because we don't either feel heard, valued, or respected. And all of those are kind of taught. That's a learned behavior, which takes healing, which you need to be open to doing. It also states, not in Proverbs, this one I don't know where it's at, so I apologize. But it also states that we need to work on being corrected. If we're unable to be corrected, we're just as easily fools. What use are we if we're not able to be corrected? Because if you're not able to be corrected, what you're telling me is you know everything. You have all the answers. You are God, essentially. Because you don't need to be corrected. Which is false. All of us do. But our biggest thing is nobody wants to be wrong. Nobody is willing to be wrong, me included. For a large portion of my life, I had a really hard time accepting that I was wrong about something, because I always wanted to be right. And I had to actually be honest with myself about where that came from. For me, it was not being heard as a child. For me, it was not being able to speak up and have my feelings validated, or having the support of my ideas. So I would argue with you to prove my point, because I wanted to be right so bad. Because when I was right, I felt like I was heard. And I see that in a lot of marriages, because everybody that I've heard, seen, experienced with different people that I've grown up with seeing, everybody throws jabs. Everybody throws little cuts. And the problem that we have is, whether that is true or not, that was not love. You can talk to me without hurting me and tell the truth without hurting me. But you have to be able to calm your emotions. Because in a marriage, it's not about who's right or who's wrong. It is both of you and the problem. I know you guys have probably heard that a lot. And I heard it too and thought it was just cliche until you actually get into it. Because when you choose love over the issue, that's when you start to realize, damn, I'm upset, but I don't want to hurt you by being upset, but I don't want to hurt myself by not being able to communicate with you. I want you to know that I'm upset, and let you know that I'm not upset with you to the point where I don't feel like this is going to work anymore. I don't want to cause an argument to where I feel like a shell of myself to compensate for you. That's where both parties can be valued and heard, when what you're saying isn't to hurt you. And to the person listening to something that may hurt you, hear them. Let the wall down. Because at the end of the day, you chose this person. So if you chose this person, that means somewhere you understood their value enough to commit to that person forever. And if that wasn't the case, you should have known that beforehand. I'm the type of person who loves accountability. I could be dead wrong, and anybody who knows me knows I might fight you on it, because I don't see the facts. I don't see where that makes sense. I'm open to being wrong. I just need it to make sense. And that's a human error in me that a lot of people might have. But we have to be open to accountability. Because if you tell me, and mind you, this is a hypothetical, okay? Before you start trying to put two and two together and put puzzle pieces, this is a hypothetical example. If you don't know what hypothetical means, example. If you tell me I'm not happy in this marriage and you are making me upset, and you did this, this, and this, a lot of people in that predicament are going to do one or two things: shut down or get defensive and fight back. What that looks like, you hear that and you're like, okay. Or the defensive side. Well, you did this and you made me feel this way. And when you did that, I was upset that you even said that, or you put it here. What you completely missed was this person being vulnerable with you. This person loves you enough to tell you the truth in a world full of lies. I feel like marriage is the only place where you have a person that you commit to, that you can truly and fully be your full, authentic self without embarrassment, full comfortability and transparency. And if you can't do that in your marriage, why are you married? If you can't fully be who you are and accepted for who you are, flaws and all, why are you married? I don't understand that viewpoint, honestly. I don't understand why that happens so often in a lot of marriages. And the craziest part that is being taught, and it's something that I've seen on social media that I kind of agreed with. A lot of marriages, when it comes to how they're raised to look for that, it's more so men are taught how to treat women, and women are pretty much told how to accept it. That's not the end all be all, but that is the biggest part of it. None of it is being taught how to love each other. And I'm gonna be completely honest. You gonna hate me for it. I'm gonna throw it out there. Women are taught to find money, because that's the only way you can find stability, apparently. But I don't remember anywhere in the Bible where it specifically says, correct me if I'm wrong in the Bible. I will gladly read it and retract that statement and learn a different pathway. But in my recollection of the Bible, I don't see anywhere in there where it states, find a man who has money. Because that isn't love. Even in the definition, it does not say anywhere in there, love is a person who has money who can take care of you. So ladies, sorry to tell you this. This world is not going to be easy on men. It's not going to be easy for you too. But at the end of the day, if you choose a partner that not only when you're up, you're happy, but when you've lost it all, you're still happy. Because if the only reason you are with him is because of the things that he can provide, you're wrong. Because you looked for love in all the wrong places. His pockets are not your safety. To my fellas, we got to do a way better job in how we hold standards. We are the leaders. And no, masculinity is not big macho man, I take care of it all. Masculinity is a spectrum that is created in this society now that is completely off the walls. You can be a man and soft. And I'm not meaning soft as in scared and it isn't. No. soft-spoken, easygoing. I don't have to be bravado to be a man or to be masculine. Because Jesus wasn't. He stood his ground, yes. But he wasn't Mr. Bravado. He didn't puff his chest everywhere he went. He didn't wall up to make himself seem bigger than he was. He showed love and compassion for the people. He was a kind and gentle man. So why are we modeling bad behavior? I feel like a man is a man who is true to himself, not true to what someone else wants him to be. That is our biggest problem. Fellas, listen to me. When you guys are looking for a mate, stop looking for the big things aesthetically. Yes, you have to have some form of attraction to a person, this, that, and the third. Cool, fine, great. But make sure the moral values are there. Can I talk to you? Or do I feel like I'm still in the world inside my home? Ladies, understand your man. Because in my perspective and how I think about it, everybody wants the finer things because of what they've seen. But do you know your man? They're not mind readers. Did you even see how he shows love? Or are you only looking at you? Marriage and love is not a one-way street. And I want to break this up now. So this one's gonna sting a bit. Happy wife, happy life? No. Absolutely not. Because all I heard from that statement was, as long as I'm happy, I could give a shit less how you feel. As long as I get whatever I want, I'm good. Why are we not preaching happy spouse, happy house, where both parties are happy and it's a continual growth where both parties get what they want? Why are we teaching one-sided love? Because love isn't one-sided. Love takes two. Marriage is two. Yes, you are one, but that's with two. If only one person is happy and the other person is miserable and have to wake up stressed and pretend like everything's fine, and whether you notice it or even care to think about it, that just shows the type of person you are. And that's a big issue. That's why I feel like, fellas, ladies, don't settle. But that doesn't mean go for the biggest, the best of it. Ladies, I'm not telling you, oh, don't settle. All right, I'm going to go for a millionaire. No. Don't settle for essentials. Money is the one thing that will fluctuate and anything can happen. But who the person is, don't settle for who the person is. He can have all the money in the world, but if he's a horrible person to you, you sacrificed your own love. So if you're not happy, it's your fault. Because you chose a man that doesn't love you, but can take care of you. Fellas, Stop going for the women who have certain assets about themselves and then wonder why they're so shallow and have no character. Your fault. You went to the ground because you decided, hey, I got the baddest one, you feel me? But as soon as y'all go home and you want to actually have a real in-depth conversation, she's, yeah, sure. Your fault. We are very shallow when it comes to our decision makings. Shallow and selfish. We only think about ourselves. And a lot of people want to say that, oh, I'm selfish, I'm selfless, I care for others, I think about others to a certain degree. Shit, me too. I'm selfish too. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'll give anything to anybody to a certain degree. Because if you're too selfless, you get ran over. Too selfish, you lose who you are. That's why you need a healthy balance of both. It's not a sponsorship, by the way. I need you guys to understand that what you guys are doing is very important to how you're going to be perceived in the end. Because in my personal belief, Judgment Day is a real thing. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. What I'm saying is when it's my time to show up in front of him, I have to face the music. Everything that I've done. There are no hidden pieces. Because you can lie to everybody else in this world. You can't lie to him. He's seen it. He knows it. He knows when you thought about it. He knows what your heart said when you thought about it. It's so easy when it comes to arguments about things. And the first thing is a selfish act. When you guys start arguing, try breathing. And yes, oh my gosh, that sounds so cliche. I'm heated in the moment. Okay. So do you love each other or not? Because if you love them, you will do whatever it takes. That's what's missing. You're not doing whatever it takes. So if you truly love this person, you will step outside of your comfort zone to grow for that person. Not be stuck in your ways. Because in my personal opinion, if you're still the same person you were 5 years ago, you didn't grow at all. You're stagnant and stuck. So if you're wondering why everything feels so stale, it's because you're doing the same thing over and over, not allowing discomfort. Yes, change and growth is going to be uncomfortable, unfamiliar. You're going to have to unlearn some things. Because guess what? Soon, if that's you guys' plan, you guys will be parents. And you're going to ask yourself this one question. And this is something that I hear from anybody that even talks about it. They don't want to be anything like their parents. Well, if that's the case, start changing. Because what you start to realize is you start to become exactly what you say you don't want to be. Yeah. You start doing those very same things that you say you don't want to do. And how do you change that? By understanding and being aware that it looks familiar. So the next time you guys have arguments and it gets explosive, actually dive in and look at that argument And not to come back to hit again, to come back and reflect. When I grew up, I seen my parents get into arguments all the time, and it got physical, and it did this, and it looked like this. And now I can see myself getting angry and fiery in similar instances. You know this, yet you won't change it, and wonder why you're still stuck. Instead of saying, I know I said I didn't want to be what I saw. All right, let me try this. Yelling, name calling, degrading isn't working. I'm still not getting fulfilled. So let me try. Okay. Give me a second. I'm upset, and a lot of my words aren't able to come out the way that I want them to. This did hurt my feelings, and I want you to understand what it feels like for me. I care about you, but at the same time, I feel hurt by these actions, these words that you chose. You can be frustrated and get your point across at the same time. It's all about if you want to. But if you're okay calling people out their names, throwing things, breaking things, all the petty antics, by all means, go ahead, do that. But if you're wondering why your marriage keeps failing, there are some points there. Just saying. If you wonder why they're not listening, ask yourself, what'd you do to be heard? Sorry, guys. If you're wondering why they're not listening, ask yourself what you're doing to be heard. Well, they should just automatically just listen. They're not you. Stop expecting you out of other people. They're not going to do the same things you do because they're not you. You are one of one. A unique being that no one else can replicate. No one's going to think like you think, especially your partner. Marriage is not I got it right, that's it. No, it's a constant learning process from the moment you got married all the way till you decease. Learning. That means for 5 years, y'all could be great. This is the person that I know and love. Next 3 years, who the heck is this guy? Next 3 years, okay, you've changed this, but I like this about it. I'm going to support you anyway. And this one is going to be a little different too, as far as my ladies go. In order for a man to lead, you have to let him lead. Well, he should just automatically just be a leader and just do it. No. You are already conditioned to think that you have to lead based off survival. If he loves you, he's not going to let you fall. Don't marry someone you don't trust. Yes, he has to grow that and build that trust so that you can see that. But you also have to allow him to do it. And he's going to mess up. He's human. He doesn't know what you want. He should just know me. No, he doesn't. He's not going to. Because he's learning you. And just because he's learned you at this point doesn't mean that he's going to continue to do that. Just like I almost guarantee you have no idea what his idea of peace is. You have no idea what makes him happy. You have no idea what he wants to do as far as anything outside of you. So when the multitude of ladies talking about men ain't men no more, okay, sure, if you say so. But When will you stop being a man? That's not your job. Well, he won't lead. You're supposed to help him. He's the end-all decision maker. You're the details. That's the partnership. He comes with an idea. You come with the tweaks. Final decision. Partnership. Well, baby, I don't really like this. Maybe we should do this instead. Cool. Maybe we should go about it this way. Okay, what about this? Now it's a conversation. So a lot of what I'm seeing in marriages can lead to a lot of different things, especially when it comes to marriages that are eventually going to turn into parenthood. Because as much as people say they don't want to be like their parents, if your marriage doesn't show growth, you're going to do that, unfortunately. And I'm sorry, that's the case. Because if you want your children to grow up better than you did, you have to be someone better than you are. Everybody wants these things, but nobody's doing the work to. They just want it to just fall in their lap. A man's not going to know what you want if you don't tell him. A woman's not going to submit to you if you don't lead. And y'all take that at face value instead of going into detail of like, what does leadership look like in my relationship? Stop looking at everybody else's marriage and trying to compare and compete and put these things together to make it. No, this is y'all's relationship. You two got married. I'm not saying you can't get advice, but at the end of the day, what works for you works for you. So if a woman is better at doing this, fellas, let that woman shine. Support her. Make it easier for her. Ladies, if this man needs this to put him in a better position to better take care of you, help that man. Help mate. Trust me, I'm still learning myself. Like I said, I'm not a perfect partner myself. But I'm trying to learn to be a better one. Because I want to be one of those. How long you guys been together? We've been married for 64 years. How'd you guys make it work? Trying. Was it easy? Absolutely not. But I wouldn't choose a better partner. Those are the things that I want people to think about my marriage. It wasn't an easy road, but it was a road that we chose. A road that we committed to. What we fail to realize in marriages is that we're constantly teaching people how to view us. We're teaching people, even our own children if we have them, what love looks like. So if you see your daughter or your son acting out in a certain way that doesn't align with you, ask yourself, what did you show them? It all starts in the home. Now, granted, yes, it's your own decisions, but at the end of the day, it's your job to teach them. So if you didn't teach them young discipline and what to expect, and then continue to mold that in their learning as they grow into young adults, don't expect them to be who you thought they were going to be. Don't ask why they're not listening to you. Don't ask why. I thought I molded this and they followed this. Why are they acting this way? What did you show in your marriage? That's how important marriage is. That's how important the value of love is. We have too many people getting married with children and then getting a divorce and then wonder why their children are feeling like they don't know what love looks like because their parents didn't make it work. And I'm not saying if it didn't work out, you guys are to blame fully for your child's neglect, but you guys played a part in it. But I'm sure there are some divorced people that have some really good kids that are great co-parents. And that's good because they made a sacrifice above themselves for the sake of the child, which is a good thing. Giving them understanding. So, I'm gonna leave you guys with this, because there will be a marriage part 2. What does your marriage look like? What tips do you have for other people in the comments that would help benefit their marriage? How do you feel about what marriage looks like in today's society? So with that, I love you guys. And I appreciate you guys' support, and continue to share and comment. I want to know your thoughts. I want to know what you think. I want to know your ideas, your advice to even me as somebody who's newly married. I would like to hear from like older generation marriages, new marriages as well, marriages that's 10 years, 20, all of you guys. So thank you. And this is another episode of Monty Speaks.